What if you had habits that would actually help you sexually attract women? Today we're gonna go over 6 so you can have the habits that will actually turn into the goal that you are looking for. And stick around to the very end because every single one of these are ones that you probably have not thought about before. Starting with number 1, speak less and listen more. The more that you can do this, you give off this aura of being in control. Also, you're not gonna be saying too much about yourself or just puking up a bunch of words, and it's gonna give you a little bit more mystery, which is very attractive to women. What you can do is practice having conversations, not just with women, but friends, family, anyone, and actually listening 70% of the time instead of trying to fill the void with words. You can ask open-ended questions and show a lot of curiosity, which you really should be doing anyways, in order to get someone to open up and talk more. And this is gonna be a little tough, but something you need to practice. When there is a lull in conversation, when there is that silence, instead of being the first one to try to fill it with some question or whatever you're gonna say, try to see if the other person is going to fill that first. So make it a little bit of a game and see how long you can go without being the one to actually fill in that silence, even though it's gonna feel awkward. Now, you don't have to do this with every single silence that exists. We're just talking about being able to build a habit in which you're more controlled in conversation and a lot more thoughtful and not just doing things because you're feeling anxious or uncomfortable. Next, we want to master the art of controlled touch. So that means when you're breaking the touch barrier with a woman in order to be able to build rapport and build more of that sexual connection, you don't want to be too jerky with your movements. You don't want to be too anxious and overthinking where you should be touching. And there's a way to practice this to get to the point where it's going to be more controlled and more deliberate. Okay, that's what we want. So when we're doing this, you want to be conscious of how you're using your hands and where you're actually touching the woman. One place, which is a great place to break the touch barrier, is anywhere on her arm, her elbow, her wrist, her hand, okay? Anywhere around there. And a great way to do this when you're practicing this and getting into the habit of being someone who is going to break touch barriers when you're talking to somebody is thinking about a place in conversation where it makes sense to make that touch. So where could that be? A great place in conversation is when you are exclaiming something or when there is more emotion behind what you're saying. So if you're just teasing her and you're kind of upset by what she said, maybe that's a place to touch her on her arm. Like, I can't believe you just said that, right? You say that to her, I can't believe you just said that. And as you're saying, your controlled movement touching her arm. You're not slapping it, you're not being too intense with it, but it's a very controlled, deliberate, soft touch. The more you practice this, the more it's gonna feel natural and normal. That's why we're trying to build habits with this. Number 3, one of my favorites. And the reason why it's one of my favorites is because I believe it really creates a lot of masculinity, and I believe it's one of the easiest ones to do. And that is being very decisive. It's a great habit that you can work on in all different areas of your life and then have it nicely leak into your dating life so you can be more decisive with the women that you're with, because women like and want a decisive man who can be very firm on his decisions, confident behind his decisions, and make it seem easy. So it's about picking something and going with it. It could be anything in your own personal life. For example, on a date, it could be picking the place that you guys are gonna be eating. It could be picking between something that you like and don't like, or something where you like a couple things, but you're like, oh, I can't decide. I like this and I like that. I like that movie and this movie. You know, I like to do this on the weekends, but I also like to do this. It's just more interesting and more attractive when there is that thing that you're certain about and making that decision on, whether it's what you're doing that day, what you're doing with her, or even the small things in your own life, and especially the bigger things in your life, deciding where your life is going, where it's headed, what you're doing, and what your passions are, which is a really nice segue to the next one. Finding a skill or a hobby to be passionate about. Now, how this shows up in a habit is trying to mess around and play with some ideas that you might like or things that you're into. Maybe this is easy for you, you already have one. Double down, triple down on that one thing. Spend more time doing it. This is attractive to women. They want to know that you're passionate about something and that your life has a lot of things going on inside of it, that it's rich. Okay, I don't mean rich with money per se. I'm talking about rich in the sense where there's just depth behind who you are as a person. And if you don't know what that thing is, you don't have a passion or a hobby or a skill, there are endless amounts of those, and ones that can just be really fun for you to do and try out. Trying out a bunch over the course of a month, seeing what you like. Maybe it's playing an instrument, maybe it's doing something really active. Whatever it is, start to cultivate this, and it doesn't matter how old you are, you can start this at any time. I like to think about this one quote, that people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. So that means that with a lot of time, you can really excel at something. The next one is kind of related to one I said earlier, but it does deserve its own category. Let's talk about controlled and intentional movement. Remember when I said when you're touching a woman, you should have controlled movement? It shouldn't be just kind of nilly-willy slapping her and having these kind of jerky movements. All of that should be done in all the areas of your life when you are presenting, like I'm doing now, when you're talking to someone or a group of people. You should have controlled movements. Even when you're walking into a bar, walking into a restaurant, the body language of someone who is really nervous, scared, frightened, anxious, maybe even depressed, you can tell. Very sudden, jerky movements, maybe kind of slouched over. You just don't have this aura that you have things in control. And so you want to have slow, intentional movement. So we can start to practice this every day by the way that you walk, the way that you gesture, the way that you even reach to grab something. Think about doing it in a controlled manner. And when a woman sees this, she's going to see confidence, and it's going to be very attractive. Now, before I get to the last one, if you need any help with being able to attract women, you feel like this has been tough for you, this has been an uphill battle, I want you to go to tripadvicecoaching.com. Link is in the description down below, where you can book a free call and chat with my team, and we can see how we can help you through this. We've been able to get men a calendar full of dates by just being able to fix how they talk to women, understand how to approach women, get an online dating profile that's actually getting matches. So book your free call in the link down below. Now, next one is holding space. I know this is gonna sound similar to the first one, but it's a lot different. This is about being more present and in the moment. Now, similar to the first one, it is about, not filling conversation up with a bunch of words and word vomiting, and being able to be very present in conversation and just, kind of let those silences happen. But it's also about how you're reacting to stressful moments. It's all about how you act when you feel this need to want to text the girl that you like or double text her when she hasn't responded. It's just about feeling calm and present and in control in all the different situations in your life. And on a date, it's gonna help you with nervousness in general. The best thing you could do there is meditate 5 minutes every single day. Or go to a coffee shop, walk around, and don't take your phone. Don't feel the need to just disappear into social media, but just be present with the things around you and taking in all your senses: sight, taste, hearing, touch, everything. And if you really want to get a woman completely sexually obsessed with you, check out the video on this screen right now and watch that next to be able to do that.